Today's episode of the Star Trek Critic, the Ensigns of Command. The plot: these colonists are trying to make these colonists forcibly remove these colonists from their land so these guys can colonize. This would never fly in today's woke Hollywood. The writers of today would have a stroke just thinking about a plot like this. As usual, 1 point is taken away for each error and I make snarky comments all the way through. This is the only time you see Chief O'Brien with a cello, and as usual, the camera always follows it extra to the main characters. For not having emotions, Data is very self-conscious. The first point is lost for having this concert in a bar and not a concert hall. The Enterprise is a city in space. It's huge. They have room for a theater. -1 point since the stars are not moving. This comment is foreshadowing for what's going to happen later in the episode. Usually the foreshadowing takes place at a poker game. Data lacks soul, and his fellow musicians told him that. How rude of them. Another point is lost for Picard leaving the concert. Riker is a big kid now. He can handle this one himself. And 1 point is lost for the world's smartest android to be that distracted by Picard leaving. As usual, an extra crosses whenever somebody goes through the turbolift. So far, this is the only episode involving the Shellyak. Riker didn't do anything but sit in that chair until the captain came up. I guess he does suck at his job after all. You get the impression Riker and Worf didn't even watch the message until Picard showed up. Picard says, remove the humans. He doesn't like colonists either. There is a definite timeline for this show. They've got 4 days. Investigation is in order. This is a job for Sherlock Picard, and he performs Picard Maneuver number 1. Now for Picard Maneuver number 2. Picard has Data go down since the radiation is fatal to humans. Data says, I see how you are. You mean it's because I'm expendable. Then Data says, I number 1. The Onizuka is named after Ellison Onizuka, who died on the Challenger disaster. The number 5 was also used on a different shuttle, but I can't take a point if they change the names and numbers on a regular basis. But I can take a point since you would never land a shuttlecraft in such a narrow area. Data's like, what the heck are they looking at? And of course, they're happy to meet someone from the Federation and are proud to show that big city they built out in the desert. Data says, oh cool, let's take a look at this city before the Shellyak destroy it. This is a quick cop-out way of deleting a very long backstory, but it's believable, so it works. 15,000 columnists means they are screwed. This means 1 day has already passed to get there, and shuttlecrafts alone will take 1 month to get them off the planet. Data says, I number 2. That is a beautiful matte painting in the distance. So all the extras turn their head when they see Data, but Goshevin wasn't happy to see him at all. Goshevin thinks Data is the left fielder.
The left fielder's name? Why?
Now he thinks the Shellyak is the first baseman. Cantor thinks he's the second baseman. He says, look, what's come? Goshevin's voice doesn't match his lips, so 1 point is lost. Rumor is his voice was dubbed by someone else, but I can't confirm that. Data says, I feel like I'm watching a Japanese movie when you're talking. Which Goshevin says, everyone looks like that now because of the universal translator. My voice wasn't dubbed, I'm just not speaking English. Data then speaks of treaties faraway governments signed over the land and that they aren't allowed to live there. Goshevin says, those are imperialist colonizers, we aren't going anywhere. Then Data says, you're colonizers too, you dumbass. You just landed on the wrong planet and now claim it to be yours, and it belonged to the Shellyak even before that. Data then realizes, hey, I'm the one that gets laid in the show instead of Riker. It's about time. Ardrian admits to being a virgin. This is why Goshevin doesn't like Data, because he wanted to get in Adrian's pants, but she prefers cybernetics. 1 point is lost since the stars aren't moving, another since they don't call the 372 legal experts for help, and another point lost since there is a legal team on the Enterprise. They forget the ship has a crew of 1,000 all the time. Did you notice the planets don't rotate, they just move sideways? Jean-Luc does Picard maneuver number 3. Picard sees the Shellyak and thinks, oh shit, that's Armus. I thought we left him on Vega 2. But Deanna says, no, it's one of the Excalbians that Kirk fought. The Shellyak is a big, pompous, self-entitled asshole. Picard's diplomatic sweet-talking only got him a chance to call the Shellyak a left fielder. Data's thinking, how did you get a Star Wars battle droid in your house? And then he calls the droid a left fielder too. Data says, I number 3. The next point is lost since there's no way Geordi would pick up that pile of goo. It would be boiling. Picking it up also makes it look even more like a fake prop. By the end of the show, we are all sick of hearing about his grandfather. Another point lost here in the timeline. The evacuation ship won't get there for 3 weeks, but how long will it take to get them all off the planet? They don't calculate that in. They might as well start using their shuttlecraft now, since Worf's estimate was 4 weeks. Now for Picard Maneuver 4 and 5, it's time to celebrate. One point lost here. They should have started evacuating the people willing to go immediately. That would encourage the others to follow. Down on the surface, Data gets the girl. Yes! Adrian says, "You really don't understand human behavior, do you? That's code." She wants to explain human behavior to him horizontally. She recommends reverse psychology, and Data says, "You know, maybe I should use Captain Picard's advice from the beginning of the show, because it was in the script." As you can see, the Enterprise is currently flying through space, so at one point is lost. Not for the terribly fake prop on the transporter pad, but where did they beam it to? And 1 point is lost since Wesley only had 1 line in the show, which is less than 5. His mom only had 6. And again, Geordi grabs something dangerous with his bare hands. Down on the surface, Data overdoes his description of disaster, and it doesn't help with Adrian saying they will only be remembered by the first baseman. Goshevin gives his speech again, and Adrian says, "We're sick and tired of hearing about your grandfather." Goshevin says, "We're all going down together." These two are like, "Hell no, he doesn't speak for us." Back on the Enterprise, 1 point is lost for Deanna's cat suit. This is one of the few times Deanna actually gets to give advice. And you never learn what this word actually means. It could mean goat farm for all we know. Now comes the Shellyak ship, and they reluctantly agree to meet with Captain Picard. Worf says, "I'm number 4. Cantor admits he is the third baseman. Theoretically, the Federation would take them to Septimus Minor because that was the destination of the Artemis. And since they've all adapted to hyperonic radiation, they would probably make a fortune in science as human guinea pigs. It's highly unlikely shooting Data would help Goshevin's side at all, and ouch, that hurt just watching it. Goshevin's just acting like a bully now. Wait a second, is the Shellyak ship also the cargo ship from Star Trek 3? Deanna and Picard beam up to the Shellyak ship, and they're thinking, hey, this is just like in Xanadu. The next point is lost for not wearing the dress uniform to talk with the Shellyak, and Deanna's catsuit is way too tight right here. It looks like Picard is just as successful as Data. Shout out to Brent Spiner being able to sit up straight just like that, because there's no way I could do that. Data says, screw Goshefin and all this diplomatic nonsense. Instead of the Shellyak destroying these people, I'm going to do it for them. Worf says, I number 5. It's time for another celebration. Riker says, I number 6. And 1 point is lost here. The Shellyak vessel would not stay nose to nose there forever. They would have just gone to warp speed and right around them. 1 point is lost for a black square on the back panel to hide the reflections. It's really rare when Data shoots at somebody, but he's just sick of their shit. And this extra, of course, has to do a dramatic falling scene. And this shot probably didn't destroy the aqueduct completely, but it did enough damage to get the point across. Goshevin and Data have a man moment. Aww. Worf wants to kill, kill, kill. The next point is lost because if you have the high-definition version, freeze the frame and blow it up, that text is not legal terminology at all. If you want me to get the high-definition version, please click that like button, the share button, and that subscribe button. Picard beats the Shellyak at their own game by having a hibernating species arbitrate. Of course, if he actually contacted the 300 legal experts who worked on the document, they would have told him they had that loophole in place all along, but he didn't ask anyone for help and had a 3-day panic attack instead. And this is what it feels like to be thrown into that briar patch. Probably the best feeling in the world. And you know the Shellyak are pissed for being bested by the pesky humans. 1 point is lost. There is no cut on the carpet in the fake triple lift. Adrian visits Data for some goodbye sex, but all she gets is a kiss. Aww. She's thinking, I should have programmed him to be my sex slave while he was unconscious. Look closely. There is a door leading to Picard's private bathroom right there. 1 point is lost here in this scene because the items on Picard's desk keep moving around. This scene is a round-robin type where it turns out Data really does know how to improvise using his own creative style. But Data is wondering, when will we ever get to play rock music? Picard says, you'll have to wait until our second movie, of course. So, who were the Shellyak? Richard Allen has 30 screen credits including Jake and the Fat Man and Tour of Duty. Sadly, he left us at the age of 55, but he will be back in Season 5. Mark Taylor has 170 screen credits, including Inner Space and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and he will be back on Voyager. Granger Hines has 100 screen credits, including T.J. Hooker, Inner Space, and Knight Rider. And Eileen Seeley has 40 credits, including Family Ties and Quantum Leap. The Ensigns of Command, which shows what happens when 3 of those horrible imperialist colonizers clash over the same planet, gets a score of 77. Thanks for viewing. Be sure to leave comments below, click that like button, the share button, the subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.